Greetings, fellow men of culture. As always, I'm broadcasting live from the peak of Thundercock Mountain. Games journalism has become as untrustworthy as a pit bull around a delicious baby. Every outlet has slowly transformed into a marketing arm for the gaming industry, rather than serving their readers with accurate news or fair reviews. Honest reviews have been exchanged for fluff pieces so GameSpot can suckle the pre-cum from big publishers like Ubisoft and EA. If journalists want to maintain their privileged access to the bigger players in the industry, they wash each other's backs to make sure they're nice and clean to receive the next fat load of salty marching orders.
So you fly to New York, you give this woman your mixtape, and what, she just you?
My wife always mixes my fat load with peanut butter for the extra protein. The latest darling of the gaming press is a so-called indie game called Mixtape. It has everything that game journalists love. Barely any gameplay. It's essentially a kind of interactive movie, so they can critique it like a movie, filling up a wine glass with their own spicy buffalo farts and huffing that gas down like their mothers huffed oven cleaner while they were pregnant. Mixtape is a story-based game from developers Beethoven and Dinosaur, published by Annapurna Interactive, and may just be the best and most significant example of blatant astroturfing the gaming industry has ever seen. If you've never heard of Annapurna Interactive, it's an indie video game publisher that sucks its own dick with ultra-pretentious, innovative indie games such as What Remains of Edith Finch and Sayonara Wild Hearts. The perfect publisher for a game like Mixtape. The developers of Mixtape have their heads so far up their own asses they can see the skeleton of their pet gerbil. The pretentious energy oozes out of every non-binary orifice of this video game. It's so uninteractive, I don't know why they didn't just opt to tell the game's story through a short animated film or something, because there's no reason for this to be in the realm of video games. I would place Mixtape in the genre of visual novel, and there's nothing wrong with that label. These games typically have varying degrees of interactivity, and being mostly a storybook isn't necessarily a bad thing depending on your taste. The genre has brought us notable titles like Doki Doki Literature Club, Steins Gate, and Fate Grand Order, which true men of culture will be familiar with. Speaking of true men of culture, I want to thank this video's sponsor, my channel members. I truly appreciate your support of the videos. If you enjoy my channel, maybe consider a membership and join us upon Thundercock Mountain. The difference with Mixtape is the creamy glazing it's receiving from seemingly the entire gaming press. You would think this game injects all 11 secret herbs and spices directly into your cock with how much praise it's getting. One of the most infamous reviews being IGN, giving this self-flagellating game a perfect 10 out of 10. For context, that puts Mixtape in the same company as Ocarina of Time, Dwarf Fortress, Soul Calibur, the original Pokemon games, and Chrono Trigger. The game you can eat 20 gallons of buttered chicken and shit yourself and play forever. Mixtape doesn't deserve to lick the greasy sweat off of Chrono Trigger's taint, let alone stand shoulder to shoulder with it. Normal people see Mixtape's trailer or gameplay and see it for exactly what it is, which is a pretentious walking simulator that boasts that it's challenging the medium of video games and how they're perceived. Predictably, all this media astroturfing hasn't translated to much success. The game peaked at 2,200 players and has maintained a few hundred over the couple days since its launch, which isn't surprising considering it's a single-player story game, so people play through it once or twice and move on. The reason Mixtape in particular is getting so much attention is the circumstances surrounding its suspiciously high review scores. This thing came out of nowhere. Barely anything in terms of marketing, squirts out onto the market and is all of a sudden placed in the same bracket of quality as industry-changing juggernauts like Metal Gear Solid. The heaps of praise don't match the reality of the game's quality, causing a huge disconnect between real gamers, gaming journalists, and the actual sales of the game. While I don't have definitive proof of excessive astroturfing, I can feel it in the cockles of my putrid black heart. This game is some sort of industry plant. A woman named Megan Ellison is the founder and CEO of Annapurna Pictures, the parent company of Annapurna Interactive, which is the company's video game division. If that name sounds familiar to you, it may be because of Megan's father, Larry Ellison, co-founder of software company Oracle. He is one of the world's wealthiest individuals with a net worth of over $200 billion. That gives Megan nearly bottomless amounts of capital to make whatever she wants. If someone has the connections and the means to throw money at whatever, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. We all roll the dice when we're born. Megan Ellison happened to get incredibly lucky. The problem with the situation is Annapurna positioning Mixtape as some sort of scrappy, independent darling who don't need no man. One look at the game's soundtrack will tell you that this game had some real money behind it. The Smashing Pumpkins, The Cure, Iggy Pop, Stan Bush. The licensing for all this music alone costs as much as an actual indie game takes to fully develop. The same could be said for Expedition 33. Sandfall Interactive received funding through a Game Pass deal with Microsoft and subsidies from the French government. People like to call Expedition 33 one of the most polished indie games ever made, but really it's not quite an indie game. A smaller budget game for sure, you may call it AA, but not indie. The difference between Expedition 33 and Mixtape is the gap in quality and customer perception. Expedition 33 is a genuinely great game. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I thought it was excellent, and a ton of other people did too. Unlike with Mixtape, there isn't a wide disagreement between gaming press and players. It's a generally well-received game. The most notable thing about Mixtape's release so far is everyone's suspicions about its review scores. I missed this game's announcement and trailer completely. It came out a few days ago and I just had to sit there while it happened to me. Completely out of nowhere, Mixtape is getting huge buzz with excellent review scores from the usual suspects. Influencers are getting bribes disguised as goodie boxes filled with all sorts of game merchandise to post to their social media.
So I just got this box from Annapurna and it says Mixtape. We have to open it. Oh my god, dude, look at that.
I really just want to die.
Meanwhile, the game is selling poorly and everyone is making fun of it, because these big publishers like Annapurna think we're stupid. Savvy gamers know what they like. They'll watch a few seconds of gameplay and never think about this game again. IGN's and the greater gaming press's review scores are viewed more as a source of humor rather than taken seriously like they were over a decade ago. There's hardly a soul left at IGN that is capable of beating World 1-1 at this point, so it's no wonder a video game that contains no gameplay will get a positive review from them. There's also this uncomfortable scene in the game featuring two preteens making out. It's pretty infamous online at this point, and there's no way the developers didn't realize this would be seen as creepy. They animated little strings of saliva, and there's braces on the teeth. Playing as a protective father in Pragmata is viewed by some as some strange pedo fantasy. Well, this is perfectly fine, I guess. The game is a coming-of-age story, and those do typically cross into the realm of sexuality. But Mixtape lacks the excellent writing and humor that allowed similar stories like 16 Candles and Superbad to get away with way worse stuff. As for the game itself, it's exactly what you'd expect. The story follows main character Stacy Rockford as she tries to make the most out of her last day in town before she moves far away to follow her dream of becoming a professional assassin. She's joined by her two best friends in the whole world, and they do teenager stuff like ride skateboards and flip off the police. Stacy is a super cool guy. She looks at the camera and makes little attitude quips and is the best at everything. The graphical style is similar to the animated Spooderman movies, with the oddly truncated character animations.
Hey guys, wait for me.
As soon as I saw that animation style in Into the Spider-Verse, I thought it looked really cool, and I would also hate it in a few years. Once the story is set up, you get through the entire game by blindly following whatever on-screen prompts tell you to do. There's no exploration, branching story, fail states, or anything. The entire game is cutscene after cutscene, bookended by the player acting as a gorilla pushing a button for a hamburger.
Come here.
Hamburger.
The entire game runs for a little over 2 hours. If you remove the interactive bits, you'd probably be left with a feature-length film, which is what Mixtape should have been. Releasing something like this to the sometimes harsh gaming community is like releasing a bucket of fried chicken into my backyard. It's getting destroyed. While I have no definitive proof, it's really hard to shake the feeling that there was some money involved in getting Mixtape such high review scores. What Annapurna Interactive may not be aware of is, gamers don't take professional review scores seriously anymore. Once the curtain was pulled back on the gaming press, and it was revealed that they are essentially activists that despise the people they write articles and reviews for, anyone with self-respect turned towards individuals like their peers and YouTubers for honest assessments of a game's quality. As it stands right now, Mixtape is going on the ever-growing pile of games completely ignored by gamers and the mythical modern audience alike. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.